This ain't some rhinestone bit. This ain't some circus show. Yeah, son, this is pure cowboy shit. Ain't your daddy's rodeo. No, it ain't his rodeo.
Welcome to Cowboy Shit. My name is Ted Stovin, and we are coming to you from the Brahma Boots studio in Calgary, Alberta. My friend, Mr. James Foley, is in Lloydminster with the blurry background.
I gotta fix it. I gotta do something.
You gotta fix it up.
Yeah,
I got a picture of me if you want it. Riding the bull.
I'll take it. I'll put it right here.
You gotta have some nasty pictures of Buck Nasty that you can have kicking around, or Fire Beach, or somebody real deadly that you could throw up on the wall.
The feng shui right here. There's stairs, and then there's like downstairs living room right here, and then there's just a random pole right here.
Like a stripper pole in your basement?
No, it's like a brick pole. But I gotta make something cool so it isn't so blurry.
Okay. This is the temporary setup. I got the GFL football there. Thanks, Peter, for letting me join the league so I can kick your ass.
Bingo.
Bully, it's a signed Dan Marino football. No big deal. It's the top of the trophy.
Ace Ventura.
There's even a certificate of authenticity.
What's that thing worth?
I have no idea. I haven't looked it up yet.
Yeah, you don't want to lose that.
No.
Well-made trophy, though.
It's pretty, and it's homemade. Like Peter built it with his bare hands. He had to add a new layer on so he could put my name bar on there.
On the bot, so there's been how
Quite
many
a few
winners?
champions?
Yeah, I was gonna say six,
6, 7, 8, 9. I'm the ninth, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not a big deal. But hey, okay, I gotta talk about this. We're inside the Brahma Boots studio for the first time, James. The first time.
Heck yeah.
Right?
This is big. This is big.
Yeah.
Give us the deets. Give us the deets on the Brahma Boot booth.
Okay, so the Brahma Boots studio, what happened? I was talking with Graham Morby. Graham runs Canada West Shoe out of Winnipeg. Canada West Shoe, it makes Brahma Boots. They make Canada West boots. They make a whole bunch of different boot lines. There's the Bull Rider version. There's the spongy. We got we have so many different styles all inside the catalog. But Brahma Boot is the main Western kind of what do you call it? Like the Rodeo cowboy boot line. So we've got full leather, like a full leather top to bottom, right? You can have a leather sole. We make a good amount of ostrich boots, like ostrich leather in a few different colors. We got like any kind of cowboy boot you can imagine. We got the Buckaroo, we got the Roper, we got the ladies, we got the men's. No kids though. Sorry, no kids boots.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not at this point. But yeah, everything's handmade in Canada. They're Goodyear welted boots. And do you know what a Goodyear welted boot is, Mr. Foley?
No, Ted. I'd love for you to tell me.
Okay, so a Goodyear welted boot. The boot leather is sewn to the boot leather is sewn to the welt, and the welt is sewn to the sole. So all of our boots, whether it be a work boot or a cowboy boot, you can get them resoled. So you can wear out that sole. Just make sure you get them resoled before the cork in the middle starts to get wore out. You don't want to see your sock through that thing. If you see your sock through the bottom of it, you've worn them too long.
Yeah, you got your money's worth.
But you could have got them resoled and made them last longer. But one thing with leather soles too is you got to be a little bit careful. You don't just burn them off in the gravel or on the pavement, right? Like the grippy pavement we have. If they're wet and you got grippy pavement, you'll burn through the leather soles. So you got to be you got to be mindful of your boots, James, right? But if you're mindful of your boots, it can last a long time.
And that's why you go with the Brahma boot.
That's where you go with the Brahma boots. But yeah, everything's made right in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Family owned and operated company since 1978. I am the Alberta sales rep for Brahma Boots. I took over in January of 2021 from Don Johansson, guest of the show previously, and Canadian champion bull rider, Wrangler NFR qualifier, won the George Paul Memorial bull riding back in the day. I think it was 1978 he won the George Paul. And I think he won more money at the George Paul than he did at the NFR that year. I have to look back. I think he told us that, but it was a big deal back then. Just happened this last weekend too.
All around great guy too.
Yeah, Donnie. Yeah, absolutely. So Donnie worked for Brahma for Canada West for a long time. Once again, just like Brahma is a brand that Canada West makes. So we make anything from a casual shoe to like the folks around Lloyd. We sell quite a few boots in Lloyd at Northern Factory, and they're mostly all work boots, right? So you got full on CSA steel toe. You've got the Western boots. You got casual, like a Blundstone kind of shoe you slip on. We call them a Romeo. Like there's a huge catalog of boots that you can choose from. Check it out, CanadaWestBoots.com. We're working on a little bit of a promo. Might be a giveaway or two coming up, James.
Woo-wee.
Yeah. The only thing I dropped the ball on today was I don't have any boots in the background. Needed to have some
Right.
like boots kicking around so I could explain some stuff. But
Where are your boots?
my
You don't,
boots,
yeah, you don't want to bring them up.
actually, well, they're in the cupboard in the closet out front, like in the
Oh,
entryway. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. But I think I'm gonna have to start recording the podcast in my Brahma boots every time. I think that's gonna
Makes,
be a new rule.
yeah, I'm down.
I didn't want to wear them in the house, but I might have to. I might have to wear my boots for the show.
Well, they're comfy, right? So it's not like it's gonna matter.
Yeah. The other thing too is like for me, I have had a couple pairs with like rubber soles on them, and for me, my feet run a little bit hot. And I don't know how much truth there is to it, but with them being leather sole, like everything I wear now has to have a leather sole if it's a Western boot. I feel like they let my feet breathe a little bit more. Um, some of the synthetic stuff, like I honestly haven't wore a pair of, I don't know if I've wore a pair of Ariat boots since I was a kid. If they were like, I don't know, I don't know if I've ever wore a pair of their boots, but since I've been on the Brahma train, it's all I have. And there's a pair that I wear that I end up, they're kind of like the mudders now, where they go to the working shows, but there's a bit of mud out or whatnot. Those are always in the truck, or they're the boots that I used to set up in too. I remember hanging off of a bar in Pollockville, like 50 feet off the ground, and I had to like parkour my way off of a Zoom boom onto like this platform. And I was wearing my boots at that point when I like swung myself back and forth. I had enough momentum that I could like jump on to the platform, safety third at that point. But I was wearing my Brahma boots because those
Oh yeah,
things
so
they feel like
lots of
sneakers.
grip. Lots of grip, safe.
Yeah, pretty safe. No, I don't even have any steel toes because
You don't need them.
I don't know if I need those.
Yeah.
Cowboy boots. I'm just on the tuck and roll policy at this point.
If you don't need a pair of steel toes, don't buy 'em.
No, no. But if you do, we make a good set of steel toes,
Northern Factory, that's where you get them.
right? In
In Lloyd,
Lloydminster.
in Lloyd. Yeah.
In Lloydminster. So, but yeah, check it out, CanadaWestBoots.com. I'd appreciate it if everybody would take a look. Make sure to support us. Check out find your local retailer wherever you might find your local Brahmas and Canada West shoes, Canada West boots all across the country, all across Canada. Like I said, made in Canada. That's a great time to buy Canadian made, everybody. We're I don't want to knock on anybody else in the boot business, but let's focus on some Canadian made right now.
Yeah.
James, let's do that.
Now's the time. Now's the
Think
time to
about
do it.
Yeah. So
At least buy one pair. Try them out.
try them out. You can call me a liar if you don't like them.
Yeah. Reach out.
Yeah.
TikTok,
But
Instagram, Facebook.
they will like I will say that like you can't just go like buy a pair and go to the Calgary Stampede for the day. You might want to have a little bit of a break-in session where you wear them for a few hours, take them off, wear them for a few hours, take them off. Wear them for half a day, take them off. They're not, I wouldn't say like for me, high quality boots, footwear, that stuff with the cork in it, like there's an actual layer of cork in them.
Right.
And one of the next shows I'll do some more some boot education for the folks and show you what like a cut in half boot looks like and what all the different materials are. But there's actual cork in it. So it's going to take time for your foot to wear down that cork a little bit where it grooves around your footbed, right? Like the leather and the cork. So some quality shit in these boots, James. Handmade in Winnipeg.
So if you're going to Calgary, you're probably going to want to pick them up about June by at least June 10th.
I would say June 10th. Yeah, give you at least 3 or 4 weeks, get them broke in.
Yeah.
But now I can wear them all day, every day, and like I can wear a cowboy boot, 250 days of the year easily, maybe more. But I know my buddy. I'll have to get Monty Phillips on for a testimonial on his boots he got from me a while back. He's got a couple pairs now, but Monty's a good big fan of the boots, and I'd say, in my experience, I think they're a really solid riding boot. They got a real actual steel shank in them. Now, some of the cowboy boots are made of a plastic shank, but we actually have like a steel, like solid steel shank. I'll show you that in one of the future episodes. We'll do a little Brahma boot, little
Brahma
Brahma
boot
boot.
breakdown.
Yeah, the
The
Brahma
Brahma
boot
boot
breakdown.
breakdown. Yeah, I
You
like
can
that.
trademark that fully. I appreciate that.
Triple B. The triple
Yeah.
B.
Anyways, we'll do a little Brahma boot breakdown in some future shows, but just want to thank Graham, thank the crew at Canada West Shoe. Once again, we're in the Brahma Boot studio for the first time, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. James, thanks for doing the show. But man, there's a lot on the go right now. A lot of stuff happening.
There is. It's busy.
It is. The
And it's
Jets just won in double overtime. That was awesome.
huge win.
Tied the game with 1.6 seconds left. That was cool.
Then went into the first, had a breakaway. Binnington, Team Canada goaltender, saves. And then it kind of slowed down. Second overtime was a little slow, but I get it. You're absolutely
tired. You're bagged.
Yeah, there's guys with 45 minutes of ice time.
That's nuts. That's totally nuts. Then you've got, I mean, how about 3 Canadian teams making it to the second round? I don't know when the last time this happened was.
I don't know either, because the Jets never get out of the first round.
Well, neither do the Leafs. Unfortunately, sorry for your Leafs. They've only done it twice now in the last how long?
Yeah, and I don't know if we're gonna make it out of the second round.
No? Are you guys in deep against
Panthers
Florida?
are a wagon. I think the Panthers are a wagon.
Are they?
Yeah.
Did I send you that thing with the Trailer Park boys in the big kitty?
No.
Oh shit! I gotta send you that. It's hilarious.
Yeah, do it.
Oh yeah. Anyways, I like it. 3 out of 8 of the teams in the second round are Canadian. How sweet is that in the NHL playoffs?
We need it.
We need it.
Canada's got to win a cup sometime.
Oh yeah. Well, I think this statistically is the best chance we've had in quite a while. So hopefully it'd be unreal if we could get all 3 to the next round. I don't know how likely it is, but TBD. I've been hoping for a Leafs Oilers Stanley Cup final for a while now.
Everybody but the NHL wants that. Nothing worse than 2 Canadian teams for a sport to play in the final.
But is anyone in Florida even watching hockey? Like last year in the Cup final, like was anybody in Florida? Did they even give a shit? Hardly. There can't be that many hockey fans in Florida.
Probably not.
Probably ex-Canadians that have moved down there and retired.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a hot commodity. I don't think what ticket price. Well, ticket price, all the Canadians flew down there last year.
It's true. It's probably cheaper to go there than it was Edmonton.
So I think Florida and Tampa Bay have been wagons for a long time.
They have been really good, but there's no state income tax. So those guys can take less money, but they take home more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be. I don't know who's going to be in the final.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm hoping. Sorry NHL, but I'm hoping Leafs Oilers.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Sorry to my Winnipeg friends. I'd be okay if it was Winnipeg too, but I'm as an Oilers fan, I would love to see
Oilers hockey.
I'd love to see the Oil in the final once again. They gotta get that dub while McDavid and Draisaitl are around. They gotta do it. They gotta get the dub.
I'd like to say if a Canadian team wins, I'll be happy. I'm a Leafs fan, but I'm not a diehard Leafs fan.
No.
I'm more at the age now where I appreciate the players. Like I like players, but team wise, like I like the Leafs. You know, I mean, if the Leafs won, that'd be great. Are they going to win? Probably not. They choke all the time. But I like the players more. So yeah, McDavid deserves a cup, man. The guy's the face of the NHL.
He's got to get a dub.
He's like Ovechkin 2.0.
Yeah, essentially. Okay, and the PBR World Finals start this week on Thursday, May 8th. It's my birthday. PBR World Finals. That's what I get for my birthday this year.
That's going to be big too.
Yeah. It's
Some
like,
big Canadian news.
pardon? Yeah, big Canadian news. How about our boy Ashton Solly, international invite qualifier for the World Finals, kicks up on Thursday. Badass for Ashton to get down there. And I've been trying to get a hold of Justin Keeley for a while, and I was thinking about like the Glenn Keeley Memorial Award, which is the top Canadian in the PBR, like in the world standings. And I
Yeah.
would think that it would have to be Ashton after getting that World Finals invite. You know, a guy like Jake Gardner made a major play last year, just what made the NFR, that side of it. But it's not in the PBR side of things. So Glenn's awards in the PBR. So like Ashton should be the guy getting that plaque end of the year, I would think, wouldn't he?
Not Tets.
Well, but Tetz is in the team side, so I don't know. I don't know what the technicalities are anymore. I don't know what the parameters are for the award.
Right.
I'm curious. Yeah, it probably like technically could be Tetz because he's one of the only Canadian guys signed to a team, right? There have been others, but he's the one doing the most damage. Like being like I was looking at. There's something that we'll talk about with our guest this week, Sean Gleason from the PBR, and he clued me into a list I didn't even know existed. But Nick's like one before the World Final starts. Nick Tetz is 13th on the like money earned list for 2025. As far as the like 2024 from the end of the World Finals last year till the World Finals this year, Nick's 13th overall for money won, and that's in US dollars. And he won most money in Canada. So pretty wild how much Nick won up here last year just in Canada. It was so badass.
The finals were an ATM machine for him.
Yeah, essentially, right?
He showed up.
And this finals could be an ATM machine for a lot of guys. It's like 3.25 million in Fort Worth and Arlington over a 2-weekend stretch.
What are we thinking? Like, man, if Sully, the guy has absolute try, right? Like he's not gonna like he's got a shot to just show up,
kick smash,
and if he draws decent, like Sully could surprise a lot of people down there.
I hope it works out for him. I mean, like you'll hear later on the show here talking to Sean. He's like, yeah, a guy rides a few bulls here. Like you're going to get paid a lot. So wish our best to Ashton this week in Fort Worth at the Cowtown Coliseum, and hopefully makes his way on, kicks some serious ass and gets into AT&T next weekend. It'll be unbelievable. But yeah, that's kind of what we got on the go. You got anything else, James?
That's it, man. That's
last weekend was what, Eckville? You bucked some
Eckville.
bulls last week?
Eckville, Eckville's a cool little event. They do a badass job to fill their hockey rink up. Yeah. Eckville, BRCs, man, the bull riding scene, there are a ton of riders. I think they had like 15 alternates at that BRC. The future's pretty decent in Canada, I think.
I like it.
We had a good influx of riders, and there's a lot of good hands coming up, man. A lot of good hands.
Well, and once again, I got to give a little shout out to this weekend. The PBR Canada Touring Pro comes back. We've got the Coy Lars Memorial PBR on Friday, May 9th, and then Coy Robbins Invitational Saturday in Camrose as well. So big weekend on the PBR side of things. The rodeo scene is back. A couple of rodeos this weekend. I saw Brock Radford made a big ride in Kananaskis for like 89.
I seen that. Away from hand. Boy.
Pretty juicy. Rock is back. Anyways, yeah. Once again from the Brahma Boots studio, this is episode 195 of Cowboy Shit. I'm Ted. He is James, and that's all we got for the top of the show, isn't it?
Yep.
All right. Well, enjoy the interview this week, folks, with PBR CEO Sean Gleason. He's talking Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo, PBR World Finals. We talked a whole bunch of different stuff on this show, so hope you all enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everybody, it's Ted here, and I wanted to let you know about a fun show that we're going to be doing on June 4th in Calgary, Alberta at the King Eddie. It's our first ever Cowboy Shit Live. We're going to have our friend Cowboy Cole there. We're going to have the gals Nicole and Crystal from Foxworthy there. We're going to have their guitarist El Mule there as well. But we're doing our first version of Cowboy Shit Live. It's going to be June 4th at the King Eddie in Calgary, Alberta. It's going to be sponsored by our friends at Bud Light Canada, and it's proudly presented by Live Nation and Stampede Entertainment. tickets go on sale. It's my birthday, actually, on Thursday, May 8th, 10 a.m. So do me a favor, buy yourself a ticket for my birthday, and we'll have a party at the King Eddie, Calgary, June 4th. It's going to be 30 days to the Calgary Stampede. Hey, hope to see you there. Welcome back to the Brahma Boots studio in Calgary, Alberta. This week, it's sunny finally in Canada, but next week, all eyes going to be on Fort Worth, Texas, Arlington, Texas. There's going to be a ton of huge events coming up. We've got the PBR World Finals, 2 separate weekends. Going to start off at Cowtown Coliseum, have the redemption rounds midweek, and finish off with 3 major events. We've got Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo, and then the PBR World Finals as well to finish things up. All eyes on Fort Worth. And to speak about all this, we've got PBR CEO and Commissioner, Mr. Sean Gleason. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me on, Ted.
Hey, no worries. I got to kick things off. You know who Peter Jabrad is. This little trophy back here is the Jabrad Football League. I ended up winning it last year, and that is a signed Dan Marino football on the top of the trophy.
Nice.
As a Dolphins fan, I thought you would appreciate that.
As a diehard Dolphins fan, I might have to steal that from you at some point. So,
so I got a bunch of questions about the finals next week. There's been a lot of change in the PBR in the last few years, and a lot of change for the good. Where do you want to start off with for next week? There's just so much. It's a record-breaking purse. Back at AT&T Stadium for the World Finals in May in Texas. There's so much to start off with, but I'll let you kick us off.
Well, I think we kick it off with the eliminations, 4 rounds of the top 40 in the world, and we actually pared the field down to 20 after the end of that event. That was new last year, and it was really based on math and science. We looked at a lot of the results from prior World Finals, and particularly coming out of the last year at Dickies when we didn't have very high riding percentages. And what we saw was that really at the end of the year, coming into the World Finals, that you've got about 20 guys, half the field, that are riding at a high level. They're going to ride 1, 2, 3, or 4 bulls, in those rounds. And you've got a few guys that are banged up, that are injured, or just aren't on their game. And so really the math suggested that we should narrow the field to about 20 riders so that we could put the best bull riders on the best bulls in front of the fans and give them an opportunity at AT&T to truly see the best in a very tight race for the world title. The 20 guys that we're cutting are out of the world title race. So but they've got a chance to earn their way in. If they want to make it, they've got to be one of the top 5 in that event or get themselves into the top 15 in the world. Eliminations for me are, they're some of the most intense rounds of competition in the World Finals that we've seen, and it's getting more intense as the riders start to understand the implications of the decision.
And so how did that format come to be? That there would have been, I want to say our Canadian finals, when they went to Edmonton, would have changed to that. No, they were that format in Saskatoon at one point. But I want to say you guys tested this kind of 20-man field out in different markets a little bit first before it went to the World Finals. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, we've tested it here and there, and really, what we looked at mostly was when we get to AT&T, what's going to put the absolute best product on the field for the fans that are in the stands and spending their hard-earned money to come and enjoy this world championship race. And, that's put the guys on that are healthy, that are in the hunt, that are riding at a high level, and they're going to ride more bulls. We ended the regular season at 39.97% riding percentage. We're 1 bull away from being over 40% for the season. And, and in the team season, they rode over 40%. So that's up remarkably from the low 30s in terms of the riding percentage. And, fans want to see great rides, and we want to give them as many as we can in a night. And this is a formula and the format that gives them the best possible outcome from a bull riding perspective.
How many people were involved in making that format? And we start off with the eliminations May 8th to 11th, Cowtown Coliseum. That's 4 full days. The redemption round is going to be on the 14th and 15th. You go to Kid Rock. Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo May 16th, and the World Finals May 17th and 18th. But there's like, this is almost going back to the Mandalay Bay and UNLV kind of format where there's two separate weekends. A little bit. It was, I think everybody rode every day at those ones.
We in that one we had everybody ride every day, but we even looked back to those days to see how many of the guys came through 7 rounds or 8 rounds of competition and rode 0 bulls, and there were a lot of them. And it's just, in the grand scheme of things, if those guys aren't going to ride or bring their A game, then they don't necessarily deserve to compete at the highest level at AT&T. And it's been a little bit of an unpopular decision among some of the lower ranked bull riders for obvious reasons. They don't get to make it on to AT&T, but that's where we brought Ride for Redemption back. And that's truly the opportunity for 5 more guys to make it through and bring their A game at the last minute and make it onto the stage at AT&T Stadium. So in order to not get in, you basically have to not ride a bull. If you ride 1 or 2 bulls during the course of the eliminations and or the redemption rounds, you're going to make it to AT&T Stadium. So it's a format that I'm pretty proud of. There were a lot of people that looked at the math and went through the numbers. We ran statistics on a lot of years to figure out whether that was the right decision or not, and it turned out to be a great decision. I think we're going to see one of the most intense World Finals competitions between the eliminations, redemption, and the final 2 rounds at AT&T that we've ever seen. Not just because of the format, but also because we've got so many guys in the hunt this year.
Yeah, it's almost the entire field of 40 riders that are technically mathematically within the hunt for the world title.
I believe it's in 20. It's into 20 something. I think there's the outside chance below 25 or so that everybody else would have to completely fall off every single bull, which is not likely to happen. But I think realistically, it could be somebody from the teens in the current world standings that moves through in the eliminations, rises in the ranks, and then wins it all at AT&T. It truly is the tightest race we've had in ages.
Well, and some new contenders, like to have they're very well, and I don't know the math side of it, but they're very well could be a new world champion this year, between Dalton Castle being the leader, Brady Fielder, another Australian. We haven't had an Australian win the world title since 1996 with Troy Dunn.
Yeah.
And you've got, I think I want to say Sage is right up there. Sage Kimsey
Sage
could be
in the hunt. John
right?
Crimber's in the hunt. Yeah. I mean, we're missing, and I'm not happy that he got hurt, but we're missing the reigning world champion that was riding everything last year in Casio Diaz, and we still have this incredible race. And he's back. He's gonna try and make his way through the Velocity Tour and make it up to the World Finals, and I hope he does, because that's just gonna put the event title at risk for all of those top guys. They're gonna have to step it up a little more if Casio's back and in true form.
What are your thoughts on Sage Kimsey being way up there this year and having won, his 7 PRCA world titles, but having a chance to win the PBR one possibly? Like, I think that would be great for I think it would be really neat to see for Sage for sure. And on the PBR side of things, like personally, I wish that he would have rode in the PBR a lot sooner.
Yeah, I knew, I talked to Sage a lot over the years, and he wanted to break the record in the PRCA, and I completely respect that. And I think that if Sage can, he's a little advanced in age, and I wish it was a few years sooner, but I'm hoping that Sage can ride at the high level that he always has been, and maybe take home a world championship and just prove to the world that he is one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he's already up there with 7 world titles in the PRCA. He's already up there. I mean, you got to put him in the top of the list with the greatest ever, but if he can win that many PRCA titles and one or more PBR World titles, you got to start talking about the GOAT.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned advanced in age, but he's still only 30 years old. Like Adriano won his last one in what, 39 in 2004?
Yeah.
Is that right? So technically,
but you know, you
but
get
still,
on ranked PBR buckers week in and week out, and 30 is long in the tooth. You know, for any bull rider, but particularly at the PBR. I do think Sage has got a lot left in the tank. I was in Tacoma and he was literally half a second away from what arguably would have been a 90 something in Tacoma, and who knows where he'd be sitting had he ridden that bull, because I think he was fixing to win the round. He was fixing to go into the championship round and 1 or 2, and who knows what happens if he wins that event coming into the PBR World Finals. But the true professionals like Sage, he'll shake it off, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't win eliminations and everything else through the weekend.
I just got to quickly on Tacoma. How about Keyshawn Whitehorse? I was sure happy to see him get a win up there. That was
yeah,
really cool.
Keyshawn is just a fan favorite. He's one of our favorites. He's such a good guy, and to see him put it together and win an event, especially coming into the World Finals, that's what you want to see. You want to see momentum here at the end of the year because there's so many points up. There's so many bulls left to ride, and the guy with the hot hand. I mean, don't forget, you get to take home hundreds of thousands of dollars for winning the World Finals event, let alone winning that World Championship. So there's a lot on the line coming up.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the richest World Finals ever as well?
Yeah, I think we've added money every year here and there, and this has got to be the richest World Finals. I haven't actually looked at numbers, but I know we added a lot of money this year, and so got to be the richest. It's more than last year.
I think I've got the actual number here. Oh, $3.264 million this year. And I think the most, pardon?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that the entire event, including redemptions?
Yeah. Eliminations, redemptions, and the championship rounds. All three, technically 3 separate events.
Yeah.
And it's, what is it? It's just the elimination rounds paid like the World Finals used to pay. So first in the round, $35,000, and if you win the aggregate at the elimination rounds, it's $150,000 check. Like that's one of the biggest checks in bull riding, and that's just the preliminary rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if you just win the rounds and the events between eliminations and the final 2 performances at AT&T, you're going to walk away with $600,000-$700,000.
Yeah. This is, I don't know if this was the case last year. I'd have to look back, but just the round money at AT&T is $75,000, and the aggregate pays $350,000.
Yep.
Yeah, unbelievable prize money. Like it's
still not enough for what those guys put themselves through week in and week out, but we're working on it, and that's certainly part of my job is to keep putting money in the pockets of the bull riders.
Well, and there was a new piece this year with Michelob, wasn't there, on one of a new bonus?
Yeah, there's a new bonus with Michelob that is on top of the round money, and yeah, we're trying to build that into a lot of our sponsor packages. The opportunity that riders can earn more and bonuses and programs that are benefiting our sponsors as well as the riders.
So with like I look back and look at the prize money that guys would win a while ago, and it's kind of like, I think it was like 20, 30,000 an event. Now we're like 40, 50,000 an event in the regular season. And some might say, oh, it hasn't gone up a bunch, but I think people are forgetting that there's another season now with teams where there's guaranteed salary and prize money too. Like in the last 5 years and more so 2, 3, 4 years with the addition of teams, like I don't know the exact numbers, but this thing's like almost probably doubled as far as total payout to the riders.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm really proud of. The team series between the team series and the Unleash the Beast, I mean, we increased prize money like almost 200%, over the Unleash the Beast series alone. And there's a web page that we keep online that I go up to regularly, and it's called the Annual Money List. And it's how much money that a bull rider has won in the PBR just in prize money alone from the league. That doesn't include their sponsorships or their endorsements or the EA contracts that they sign with the teams. So just in prize money alone, we've doubled or more than doubled the annual earnings of the top 100 bull riders in the world. And if you look down that list, you'll see that, in 2018 and 19 and any year prior, there were about 20 some odd guys that would make 100,000 in prize money or more on an annual basis. And I would come back every year from the World Finals and I'd look at the system in total, because we're not one event, we're a series of events that lead up to a championship in both individual and teams. So you can't look at one event and say, oh, well, this event pays that. And, compared to you, it's, you're only paying 75,000 a round and they're paying 100,000 a round. Chances are that's one event, one round or two rounds in a year, compared to the fact that we're doing that 23 times in the regular season to pay out, big money in the rounds, big money in the aggregate, and then leading up to the finals. But collectively, when I look at it, I look at what the bull riders can earn, prize money, and then the EA contracts now from the teams. And you look down that list and there's 40 guys before we even go into the $3.25 million World Finals and pay that money out. There's 40 guys that have already made over $100,000 this year in prize money alone. Again, not counting the team's money, which is significant in what they're getting from their teams and their contracts. And when you can do that, and we can keep spreading that money down the chain of bull riders, you've got more bull riders that can truly turn around and say, I'm a professional athlete. I make my living off of bull riding. I don't have to have a day job. I don't have to, work weekend or work during the week and ride on the weekends. And that's really what we're after. For those guys that deserve it, for the guys that ride at a high level, we want them to be able to make a commitment to the sport, commitment to be a professional athlete, and then give them all the tools that they need to succeed and pay them accordingly.
I didn't even know this list existed, Sean. I'm cruising through it right now, and
I've through it, man. Go back and look at the prior years. I encourage everybody to look at it, because you'll see some criticism once in a while of, oh, well, the round money hasn't gone up here, or this hasn't gone up there, but what really matters is how much did each bull rider earn over the course of a season, an event, whatever it is. But really, it's about the season. We want professional athletes that are competing in whatever they want to compete in, because they don't have to compete in UTB and they don't have to compete in teams. They can compete in one or the other if they want. And that's really been an opportunity that you see a guy like Cooper Davis that's extending his career by 2 or 3 or 4 years now, because he's riding in teams only. And I think you're going to see that with more guys that, don't want to put their body through 60, 70 rounds of competition in the Unleash the Beast series, but they're, still got some gas in the tank and they want to go out and ride. And they're now able to ride for a team with a guaranteed contract from their team and earn a lot of prize money. So I'm really proud of what we've accomplished. And if you look at that, if you really study that annual money list, you will see, and it is hard for anybody to argue, that PBR has putting millions and millions more dollars in bull riders' pockets this year than the year before and the year before and the year before. That's what we're after.
So just a quick stat that I found going back to 2019. In 2019, there were 19 bull riders that made over 100,000. And like you say, in 2025, there's already 40, which is double, more than double in a 5.5 year span.
with 3,250,000 yet to pay out to
Yeah.
those same bull riders.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna drive it down close to probably 50 when you look at the list of who's in and who's out, because some of those guys are in the top 40 list on the money are winning their money in Australia or Canada, primarily Australia, but some in Brazil and Canada that aren't even making it. They're not even coming over to the World Finals.
Well,
So you look down that list, and there's guys that can still crack the 100,000 mark.
well, and no, to that point, Nick Tetz is 13th on the entire list, and that's just from his Canadian money. There's 178,000 in U.S. funds because it would have been converted. He won over 250 in Canada, but
yeah, he won, and I'm sure he won some money in teams.
yeah, it's 33,000. So, and he's hurt right now. He didn't even get to run at the world title race because he broke his leg off this winter. So
yeah, so he's at 170,000. Is that what he said?
No, he's at 212. He's 13th on the list. Like he would be a world title contender if he was on the other side, but that's essentially mostly 85% money won just in Canada. So I got interesting stat to point out. I'm impressed by the Canadian side of things, and I know we're kind of getting a little off track on. I wanted to focus on the World Finals, but this, I'm a numbers nerd, so I appreciate this.
Well, dive into that. I'm telling you, it's really interesting. I'm a numbers nerd too, and that's why I had this list put up, and then when I see the criticism, it's just like, man, what anybody can pick one point in time or one thing and find fault in something, but I'm going to go ahead and point everybody to that list and say, yeah, poke a hole in that. Those are those are registered with the IRS. Prize money's paid out, nothing fictional. Like every penny's been paid. So good luck telling me that we're paying the same that we were in 2010, because that's in there too. Go back and look at it.
Oh yeah. I'm curious now what the total is. Like I want to know like what the top number is for 2025. Like if you added up everybody's number at the very top of the thing.
I should know it, but it's it's somewhere. I think it's somewhere now in the range of 15 mil. Wow. That's paid out across all of them, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just looking at the numbers going back to 2019, for example, it looks like it's doubled. Like my guess would be it probably went from
that's what I'm saying. The teams more than doubled the annual prize money of at least the top 100 bull riders in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the 100th ranked guy, if you roll down that list and look at 2018, and he was probably making $17,000, in velocity events here or there, a few Canadian events. And you go look at that same guy today, and if he was riding for teams, which he most likely did at some point in time, he's in the $35,000 range now. And, and that's the 100th ranked guy. I mean, he's not competing week in and week out. And,
still not a real job.
Yeah, but he still hasn't made the commitment to be a pro. I mean, he still hasn't risen to the level of deserving more. He's not riding at the highest level. He's the 100th ranked guy in the world. That's pretty far down the list, but still making decent money.
What about some of those guys that are ranked, say 21st to 40th or 21st to 50th? I know some of the feedback with some of the guys here is that the cost is so much to get down the road and get going, and there's that little cusp, that little barrier where it really does jump. I just wonder about that sometimes, if it's too top heavy. Sometimes you obviously want to reward the top guys, but I wonder sometimes, I don't want to make it I wouldn't want to see it be like what do you call it? Like everybody gets a ribbon for showing up. But I'm just with those guys, because they really got to fight and really got to battle to make enough to really get by.
I think we just covered that a little bit. I mean, go back and look at the 40th ranked guy in 2018 or 2019 that was making 40 grand or 50 grand getting up and down the road. Now he's making 100,000 in prize money alone.
Yeah.
You know, and most of those guys, if they're in the top 40, you can almost be assured they're on a team somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 70 bull riders across the 10 teams that have protected roster spots in the team series, with most of them having some type of contract from their team. So yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it, I look at that a lot. And we're gonna take a hard look at it going into next year. We don't want any of these guys feeling like they're going broke trying to get to an event. But at some level too, what we can do is just pay the most money that we can possibly pay, and we're not going to make it a yellow ribbon soccer sport that everybody gets a ribbon. It's just, that ain't going to happen. If you want more, ride better.
It's a fair point. Fair point. I got while we're on a little bit of the team side of things, I had a few people ask me, what does the expansion look like? I know somewhere along the line, the initial buy-in on the teams was $2 million. And I think the expansion was a $20 million fee, if I remember right.
The initial teams were 3 million, and the last two that we sold were 22.5.
Okay. Is there further expansion coming? I guess question number one. And everybody up here wonders, like, can we even have a Canadian team? Could we even have a Canadian team? I don't even know what it would look like, but that was a question I got from a lot of folks up this way.
Yeah, there's no rush for us to expand at this point. One of the factors that we keep track of is how much talent is there to go around. Like I said earlier, there's 7 protected roster spots times 10 teams, which is 70 deep in the bull riding ranks. We've seen the quality of riders go up across the board. I mean, if you go back and just the riding percentage alone, the fact that we're riding at more than 40% in teams and almost 40% over an entire season of Unleash the Beast, they're getting better because of the coaching, the mentorship, the other aspects of being involved in the team side of things teaches them how to be a better athlete. But we're not there yet. We don't have another 20 bull riders to go and expand right away and not dilute the pool and then have unbalanced competition. So we're constantly looking at how many riders are in the funnel and who's coming up. But really what we're seeing now is the coaches are truly taking these guys and they're teaching them to be better bull riders. I mean, Brady Fielder, in my opinion, is a great example of, he's always been a really good bull rider. But when Cody Lambert got his hands on him and started teaching him a few things and my understanding is Brady has been an incredible student trying to learn and better his game, that after that first season, or last year's season, when the Rattlers won the team title, I went over to the Australian finals and told Glenn Young, good luck putting up anybody that's going to beat Brady Fielder at this event. And Glenn's trying to tell me, oh, the Macaulay Leather and the Leather brothers are pretty good, and this guy's riding great. And I'm like, you don't understand, Glenn. This is a different level. And I said, Brady Fielder's going to walk away with this. And he didn't believe me, and Brady Fielder walked away with it. But I think it was because, and then you see now he's in, and I told Glenn at the same time, I said, Brady's going to be in the hunt for a world title next year. And he's like, well, maybe, and guess what? He's in a hunt for the world title. And it's because I've seen the impact that coaching has had on him and his style of bull riding. And he's just fundamentally almost flawless in his riding style. And that's teaching, that's coaching, that's a great student that's willing to learn and cull something from people that have come before him. And so I've seen that pool the pool of riders get better from bottom to top. They're all getting a little bit better as a result of coaching and teams.
My explanation for it when I talk to people about it is I think that teams has brought a new extreme level of investment for the riders that's never existed before. There's never been teams like this that have the assets that want to build their riders and build the athletes on the rider side. There's from like probably like the late 90s to 2010, 2015, all the investment on the PBR side of things, on the athlete side, was all on the bulls. There were tons of people that were all wanted to have a bull and be invested on the bull side. So the investment on the bull side went through the roof with all the people that were involved. But now it's like the riders kind of, I want to say they faltered a bit because there was so much investment on the bull side. But now with the teams, there's that huge investment on the rider side that's like it's never been done before. It's never been a thing. And now
it's pretty simple. It's coaching, mentorship, and accountability. So it's having the accountability to your teammates, your coach, your owner, your general manager. And just that, I've seen it with a lot of guys where just that accountability tempers their out of the ring activities a little bit. So they're a little more focused on leveraging their raw talent to perform better in the arena. And then there's a bunch of guys that I've seen take this coaching, this mentorship, and just get better as a bull rider. And, and it's just, that's one of the reasons that when I originally pitched the whole idea of teams, one of the reasons was we need better bull riders and we need coaching in the sport. And so that's having a really positive effect, I think. But back to expansion, I could see it maybe happening in 2028, 2027, maybe 2028, but we're in no rush, and we really have to let the number of quality bull riders catch up to the number of teams so that we can field 12, 14, 16 top performing teams and not have, 2 or 3 that are phenomenal and the competition level drops after that.
How I've talked to a few people, or at least a couple people about this, but I wonder how much more of the season teams takes up at some point. Will there always be a PBR world champion? Will that go away someday? Will the world champion?
No, I don't.
Never?
No, the Unleash the Beast series and the world championship are not going away. There's definitely pressure to compress that a little bit and get more teams events in, especially as we expand. But I don't see one going away and the other subsuming it. But I do think that teams is, it's a rocket ship. It's arguably the most successful team league launch in recent memory in any sport. And so it's a huge success, and it's opening the doors for us to new fans. It's team sports are easier for the general market and consumer to understand. And, the people that want to be critical and say that we're ruining bull riding and it's always been individual sport, we haven't changed bull riding rules at all. It's 8 seconds, one hand in the rope, can't touch the bull. You get a score, half the score goes to the bull, half to the rider. There isn't a single change in the fundamental sport of bull riding, but putting 5 scores into a bucket somehow is ruining the world, and but it really, those people are they're short-sighted, because what we're trying to do is open the world of bull riding to more fans, and team sports are easier for people to understand. I mean, individual bull riding is complicated at any level. PBR, PRCA, it's like, well, you got a months-long season of individual rounds and aggregate scores and, points that go in based on your performance here and there. And I wrote the rules, and I still couldn't even tell you exactly what is the 4th place guy? How many points do they get when they finish 4th in a round? And what does it mean? And you have to go in and digest that after the fact. And So for years, we get new people out to the events, and you're trying to explain this to them. Well, they ride one on Friday, they ride one on Saturday, and then the top 12 come back and ride another one. And then the aggregate of those three, then it ranks them, and then they got points for the rounds, and then they get points for the aggregate. And then we move on to the next event, and we do it again, and we do that 23 times. And then we go to the World Finals where the points are 3 times, bigger than that. And you've got to be a real diehard fan in order to maintain and follow that competition structure. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I am still to this day probably one of the biggest fans of PBR's brand of bull riding that there is. I still get goosebumps when Sage Kimsey comes half a second from riding that bull. I know the implications of it. I know that was a big, big, big buck off because of the way the points work and the way that the season unfolds. But not many people do. They watch that ride and it's, oh, he got bucked off. And team sports, completely different. The score is 89-90. They need to have at least 1 point to tie and 2 points to take the lead. Let's see what happens, this next ride. It's really easy for a casual fan to appreciate bull riding, understand it in a game. We didn't change bull riding, we changed the game in a game that now is more appealing and more understandable to a general audience.
I think I was talking to Slade Long about this years ago, but I looked back at all the numbers I don't know if it was on the PBR.com or what it was on standings, like on the world title race. And what I saw, one of the things I noticed that it came down to that I could say like could really, 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 really simplify it is just go back down to the guy that rides the most bulls. And I know that doesn't encourage the re-ride scenario sometimes, and that would be part of it. But I look back at the different pieces, and there was quite a few years where the guy that rode the most bulls and had the highest aggregate score was the world champion.
Well, we did have that, and to a certain extent. I mean, that's the way that the rules and the scoring system were written before I restructured the point system. It was that game of ride the most bulls and keep 70s and 69s, and and it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things that you could have a guy that scores a 94 on one of the rankest buckers in the world, and he's losing to a guy that kept 270s.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's where it doesn't work.
And it does not work, especially when you're trying to preserve this concept that the cream rises to the top and gets paid the most. You want to award the guys that excel and exceed and perform at the highest level. And so that's what this point system does. It awards the most points to the guys that deliver the highest overall results, and really encourages you almost have to take your re-ride. There's still a lot of guys that don't.
Yeah.
But you sit there and watch them not take a re-ride, and it's like, you don't like money and you don't like to win. Because I know that is going to not win you. It's certainly not winning you money in the round, and it's going to kill you in the aggregate at the end of the day. So what's the point?
Yeah.
It might as well be a zero. And guys get banged up and they get hurt, and I get that. But when a healthy guy keeps a 72 on the board and hopes that they ride another one and just outgun them in terms of number of bulls ridden, I haven't seen it work very often under the new point system.
Yeah. We only have about 10, 12 minutes left. I gotta touch quickly on the Canadian side of things. In 2023, PBR Canada paid out $880,000. Last year, 2024 was $960,000. Looks like might get to the $1 million mark for the first time this year. It looks quite likely. We got to just briefly talk on the success on the PBR Canada side of things in the last, I want to say the last 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess this is the 10th year already of the tour being on TSN up here in Canada as well.
Yeah. It's 10th year on TSN, I think, and it's coming up on 20 years since I opened the doors for the first time in 2006. it's difficult for us. The money and the points and the glory are here in the US. You know, they're in the Unleash the Beast series. And I'm really proud of what we've done in Australia, Canada, and Brazil to create a platform for the riders in those countries to stay home, hone their skills, make enough money to make a living, and ultimately make a choice whether they want to come compete at a higher level or not. But the system is clearly designed, graduate from that and come over here, you know, and it's not just a US tour. We've got, as you pointed out, we've got an Australian that's making a run for the world title. Brazilians have won it as many times as the Americans or the Australians have. And so that, you know, this is an international stage that we conduct the events here. But it's, you know, it really, that's the way the system's set up. We want them to graduate and we want them to move on. So we're happy that we're seeing the growth in those countries, but you got to put them all together at some point. Otherwise it leaves too much speculation open to who's better, the Canadian champion, the Australian champion, or the Brazilian champion, or, you know, well, let's find out. Let's put them all together and then see who comes out on top.
So are you trying to tell us that the Global Cup is coming back?
I plan to bring the Global Cup back when we can find the right window in the schedule to make it happen. With the launch of teams, that obviously, you know, there isn't a lot of downtime in anybody's schedule. So I definitely think we'll bring that back at the appropriate time. It's a great format, love it. It's really the genesis of why we launched the team series in the first place. And so it's coming back at some point. I just don't know when.
What conversations have you had with the International Olympic Committee to make it an official sport in the Olympics?
We did years and years ago, and it was just pretty obvious that, you know, it's hard to cross the threshold to be a Olympic sport when you really only have high quality bucking bulls in Canada, the US, Brazil, Australia, and a handful in Mexico. I mean, you think about maybe a couple in Argentina, you know, I mean, but really there's not that many bucking bulls that are out there. And so people ask all the time, when are you going to Europe? When are you going to the Middle East? And the answer to that question is when we can figure out how to get the bulls in and out of there without having to leave them behind, or unfortunately have them quarantined and then led to slaughter, because that's what happens with cattle when you try and ship them between the countries. And no matter how much we respect and revere our exceptional athletes on the bull side of the equation, there's still cattle. And so they're subject to a whole lot of rules, regulations, and restrictions. You know, there's a whole recent European thing with some new fly or something that's preventing export and import of cattle across European lines now. So there's always something that comes up with cattle that make it tough.
And being much different than the horse side of things.
Yeah. I mean, we've really got to get the bucking bulls elevated into that domain in order to even look at shipping them internationally and bringing them home. Okay. We've also looked at a lot of options to build bucking bull herds in some other countries and do that, but there's a lot of restrictions around it. And candidly, we've got our hands full building business in Australia, Canada, Brazil, and the US. And so we haven't decided to tackle any of those problems yet.
Fair. I had to ask. I've always thought like having rodeo being part of the cultural Olympiad at a couple Olympics. It's always kind of been on the back of my mind. But
yeah, there's not enough. There's no Europeans really that can do it. There's nobody from Asia that can do it, and there's a handful from South America. But otherwise, it's pretty much restricted to those 5 countries that we operate in.
Okay. Okay, before we wrap it up here quick, I want to talk. I really got to talk to you about the last Cowboy standing, CSU, Colorado State University, July 21st and 22nd. This is an event that previously, last Cowboy standing for a few years has been part of Cheyenne Frontier Days. I read your entire thread on X, and I really appreciate seeing all the breakdown on what all went down. It seems like a very bizarre situation, but I'm excited to hear about how the CSU event goes and the major concerts that are part of it now too. But I just got to talk about that a little bit because that's a major stop on the tour this summer.
Yeah, I mean, we were extremely disappointed. Nobody owes us anything, but we felt we had earned a little more loyalty from Cheyenne than we got at the end of the day after we bailed them out in 2018. And we were summarily uninvited from participating, and they chose to go with Extreme Bowls in Cheyenne. And after receiving the one phone call to notify us of that, we had a decision to make. And it's a big weekend for us between Big Sky, which has become just this incredible summer event, and then the Monday and Tuesday, which historically have been at Cheyenne and the last Cowboy standing. And so really I took a little offense to the fact that, our brand was just, oh, we can put on any bull riding here and there and you don't matter. And I feel that the complete opposite is true, that PBR was the brand that and arguably doubled the gross revenues in Cheyenne and reestablished that Monday, Tuesday as must see because it was a special event in PBR schedule. But Cheyenne Frontier Days doesn't own that Monday and Tuesday. And so we found a great partner in CSU, and we're going to put on the last Cowboy standing event in their incredible stadium. And the initial response to it, we've already more than doubled the ticket sales and revenue of any prior Cheyenne Frontier Days stop in the PBR. So it's going to be a hugely successful event for us. I hope they sell out too in Cheyenne, and people enjoy that particular product. But the PBR is going to put on a show in CSU, and I can tell you right now, it's already going to be a hugely successful event.
I think one thing that a lot of folks still don't maybe see in the Western sports world is that the PBR is actually producing the events, where every rodeo everywhere has a separate committee that puts on their own show. And I think we talked about this last time, and I preach on it all the time. But like, if you're going to go to McDonald's, you're going to get the same Big Mac everywhere you go in the world. Where if you go to a professional rodeo, you're going to get a lot of different cheeseburgers at a lot of different places.
Yeah, well, I wish them luck on loading in between 4 o'clock, when the rodeo ends, and 7 o'clock showtime on Monday and Tuesday, because we had to think through a lot of production issues in order to pull that event off with the quality and the experience that we ended up delivering to the fans. And it was not an easy challenge, and we were able to kind of perfect that model in Cheyenne. And it also limited what we could do in traditional PBR, in terms of the traditional PBR experience. That Big Mac or double quarter pounder experience that the PBR delivers was probably a double cheeseburger in Cheyenne, because we had from 4 to 7 to really load in before the doors open and the show began. CSU, we're going to bring it all. We're going to bring that and then some.
Let's just gotta go do this really quick, but I gotta talk on Kid Rock. Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo, May 16th, the day before the culmination of the World Finals. PBR's head offices are now in Fort Worth. I stopped by and saw Flint and a couple people in January, and the offices are incredible. Mule Alley is right there. The move to Texas, I think, has been a huge boost on the PBR side of things, and to have the World Finals there and Kid Rock show, like we just got to touch on that a little bit before we wrap it up.
Yeah, Kid Rock Kid Rock had interest in PBR teams, and so we were introduced. We started talking, and he has probably is a bigger fan of rodeo and all of the disciplines than he is of just bull riding. And we sat around and talked about that, and and talked about the integration of entertainment and rodeo and kind of what it's become, which is the rodeo's an opening act for some big name concert, and the two are getting more and more separated, and so it's really a disservice to the great athletes that compete in rodeo, in my opinion. Is you don't want to be the opening act for a big music act. And you see it in a lot of places. The crowds don't show up till late, in the rodeo. And unfortunately, and I think that's a disservice to the sport and a big problem in the long run. So one of the things we wanted to do was create a new format where we mash together the entertainment and the rodeo experience. You can't choose one or the other because they're all part of the same overall entertainment experience. And we delivered that last year. And the format, this head-to-head team format rodeo, my favorite line from the entire event last year was several people that came up to me and said, "Who knew you could make timed events more interesting than the rough stock?" And I'm like, thank you. That's what I was hoping for, and it really was. I mean, the barrel races were a horse race, and the steer wrestling came down to like milliseconds in terms of who won. And again, that general crowd that's in the audience, they didn't need to watch one run and be told that it was a 6-1, and then wait till 14 outs later and have a guy get 6-0 and have to remember where everybody ranks in it. It's like, that guy threw down his steer first, no penalties, he won. He's moving on. And it's really just the simplification of this great sport and delivering it to fans in a way that they can understand and be entertained. And I'm really proud of what we've done. We're looking forward to year 2.
Is there a Kid Rock tour in the works?
We're working on that. More to follow.
Okay. You got to get going to another thing, and I appreciate the time here, Sean. Is there anything else we need to add before we wrap it up today?
I think we covered a lot.
We did. Thank you for the time. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely.
Have a great World Finals too.
All right. Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Sean.
For a real good time.
Hey, I just wanted to say again, new addition to the show this week. It's the Brahma Boots Studio. Going to be the Brahma Boots Studio. I got to say thanks to Graham at Canada West Shoe Company, Canada West Boots. Make sure to check out CanadaWestBoots.com. Check out all the Brahma Boots in your local retailers. But this year, we have a brand new studio sponsor for the first time ever. It's Brahma Boots, and it's the Brahma Boots Studio right here at HQ in Calgary. Going to be a great year. Make sure to support Canadian-made products built right in Winnipeg since 1978. Once again, Brahma Boots, CanadaWestBoots.com. Check them out. Thanks for being a proud partner of Cowboy Shit.
This ain't some rhinestone bit. This ain't some circus show. Yeah, son, this is pure cowboy shit. Ain't your daddy's rodeo. No, it ain't his rodeo.